In 1914, when WW1 began, the main headgear of most armies in the world was a regular cloth cap, and only the Germans wore the famous pickelhaube. It was made of leather and did not greatly exceed the caps in its protective properties. It was believed that with the spread of firearms, ancient steel helmets were no longer relevant, since they would not be able to stop a high-speed bullet. However, with the beginning of WW1, the Europeans very quickly realized their mistake. As more and more countries entered the war and the scale of the battles increased, the number of human casualties increased rapidly. France alone lost 250,000 people in the first month of the war. Howitzers, machine guns and mortars did their job. To protect themselves from modern weapons, troops began to dig in, creating kilometer-long trenches, but the widely used artillery, which often used shrapnel shells, continued to mow down soldiers. In addition to shrapnel, during the explosion of a shell, fragments, stones and sticks flew in all directions, which also injured or killed people, and since the heads of soldiers were sticking out of the trenches, most of the wounds were in the head. The issue of head protection had to be resolved urgently. Already in 1915, the French General Auguste Louis Adrien developed an infantry helmet, which was called the Adrien Helmet M 1915. Soon after France, Great Britain developed its own helmet, and in 1917 it was adopted by the US Army under the designation M 1917. The most durable steel helmet of that time, Stahlhelm, was adopted by Germany in 1916. Already after the first battles, it became clear that helmets effectively protected the heads of soldiers and the number of fatal wounds sharply decreased from 25 to 3%. In 1916, Russian riflemen sent to France were equipped with French helmets, and after their successful use, Russian diplomat Alexei Ignatiev ordered 15,000 helmets from France. The only thing was that instead of the French insignia, these helmets had a double-headed eagle on the front. However, after the first parade review conducted by Nicholas E., it was decided to ban their use and further purchases. According to the emperor, these helmets looked very bad with the military uniform, and also spoiled the warlike and intimidating appearance of the soldiers. A soldier in a helmet, according to Nicholas E., looked simply ridiculous. It took about half a year of pressure and arguments from generals, based on the successful use of helmets by other armies, for Nicholas E. to finally give the go-ahead for the purchase of French helmets. As a result, 2 million helmets were ordered from France, but only a small part of them managed to reach the troops by the end of the war. In 1917, a Russian helmet was developed based on the French helmet, and 600,000 copies were produced in factories in Finland, but due to the revolution and the abdication of the Tsar, as well as Finland's declaration of independence, these helmets never reached Russia. As a result, in WW1, about 25% of the soldiers of the Russian Imperial Army, which is about 220,000 people, died due to head wounds, and if the appearance of soldiers in helmets had not embarrassed Nicholas E. so much, these casualties could have been avoided. Subscribe to the channel. There will be much more interesting ahead.